Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello, how we doing, everybody? We good? Just 1 second. Okay. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. I looked at this clip and I've seen it before, but I thought that we could have a discussion on it. I'm going to play it first in its entirety, and then we're going to go through the points as she says them. So I think that'd be the best way to go about it.
It's fatherlessness. You don't know what it feels like to be in the presence of a man that has some authority. How you gonna feel comfortable with this shit out in the world? This is why we end up struggling as young ladies trying to process and like feel comfortable around y'all. I feel like a nigga trying to control you. Feel like you're trying to tell me what to do. Feel like you're trying to use your money to do. It's a lot of shit we misperceive, or we take it the wrong way because we don't know what it feel like to have a daddy that say, this is the decision as a man, and ain't no woman coming and put her 2 cents on it, right? Then you only seeing how a woman solves and processes and run the household. This your programming. Now flip the same shit to a young boy. You 16, 17, fully grown in your build, but you only ever saw a woman run shit. You only ever saw your mama, decide how stuff gonna go in the household. And we nurture her. So a lot of times women don't even realize all that fussing, the way you handling your son, you fucking him up. And this is why it's a lot of niggas that they not gay. They heterosexual males. They are attracted to women, but they can't stand a fucking woman. All that.
Now, we're going to go back to the things that she's saying. Okay. I had to go ahead and pause it because, it'll roll over and over. Okay. First, let me tell you that I agree with what she's saying. What she's pointing out, the overall point of this snippet here, is that she's pointing out how fatherlessness, not having that father role in your life, affects the boy and the girl. Now, of course, this is not all encompassing, right? There are more nuances than what anyone can say in a few seconds. However, generally speaking, because she's speaking sort of in generalities, she's correct. She's absolutely right. And a lot of this misperceiving, misunderstanding, not being able to see masculinity and femininity for both the men and the women, because this, I like that last point, and I've been wanting to talk about that, and I'm glad that she said it, because I want to be able to talk about men not really liking women, and I'm not talking about they sassy or nothing like that, but being a heterosexual male, being attracted to women, but not really liking like feminine energy as he has experienced it. He don't really like it. It's, you know what I'm saying? And it creates this imbalance. But before we get to that, that's putting the cart before the horse. I wanted to talk about the things that she said. So we're going to run it back.
Shit is fatherlessness. You don't know what it feels like to be in the presence of a man that has some authority. How you gonna feel comfortable with this shit out in the world? This is why we end up struggling as young ladies trying to process and like feel comfortable around y'all. I feel like a nigga trying to control you. Feel like you're trying to tell me what to do.
Now we're gonna stop it right there. The lack of the authoritative father. Because in an ideal situation, you have the man and the woman, the mother and the father in the home with the children performing their roles. Okay. Idealistically, a little girl is learning her first lessons about how to interact with masculinity from her dad. She's doing a couple of things. She's watching him interact with her mom, and she's watching her mother's responses. She's also interacting with him herself, and she's experiencing his masculinity. Okay? She's experiencing his leadership. She's experiencing what his authority feels like. Does it feel like it come from a loving space? Do it feel like it come from a hateful space? Do it feel like it's coming from a punishing space? Do it feel like it comes from, you see what I'm saying? Because as the follower, we experience the leadership. We experience how that comes off to us and how that reads. If it reads like it's coming from a place of caring and a place of love, we feel secure with it. It breeds security. We feel more confident as little girls to be able to rely on that masculinity and be able to see authority when your dad put his foot down. You know what I'm saying? When hey, his word is his word. He get, it is what it is. We done. She begins to understand the nuance of when it's okay for her to assert herself, be herself, give her father her emotional output. This is important. She's learning how to give a man her emotional output and not have that shut down or told that she shouldn't do that or that it's wrong for her to give her father her emotional output. Because as her dad, he's supposed to add order to that. She's coming to him, she upset, she crying, she flustered, you know what I'm saying? His job now is to give her security in the fact that it's okay. You actually can feel the way that you feel. However, we have to have some control over that emotional impulse. Because just because you can feel a way doesn't mean that you get to act out or you get to throw a tantrum or you get to hit somebody or you see what I'm saying? So he adds the structure to her emotional output. He doesn't tell her, go shut up and sit down. I don't want to never hear you crying or upset or confused or like, you see what I'm saying? He's not teaching her that her feminine emotional output is wrong. He's simply giving her structure about it. Okay? He's giving her structure about it. So he's letting her understand that, okay, I can have these feelings and things of that nature. My feelings are valid. But now every action that I take as a result of those feelings is not always valid and is not always correct. Because when I tried to act out based on my feelings and this was the wrong action, my father corrected that. He corrected me. And so she learns to take correction. At the same time, her father is not taking love away from her. So all of these lessons are being learned from a place of love. So she still feels secure, even though there is correction, even though there's accountability being made for her. She still may not necessarily like it, but she understands, especially as she get older, okay, like my dad don't like hate me. You know what I'm saying? Like he may discipline me. He may correct me. But ultimately, my dad loves me. And I know that. Okay? If she does not ever get this, and this is the problem with this rampant single mother household situation that a lot of Black households got going, this is one of the major negative impacts. Because since that don't be the case a lot of times, she's gonna pick up the chaos of her mother without the structure and order of a good man to be around and to witness this interaction. So then she learns how to be chaotic like her mom. She never learns how to accept order or accountability or correction. Once she gets older, she didn't go through this as a little girl. So now she's gotten to an age where she dates and she's dealing with men. And now when she sees that man or that man comes around her, she doesn't know how to take that. It automatically feels like this man is trying to change all of who she is, and he doesn't accept her for who she is, and she's not good enough, and it makes her feel inadequate. It makes her feel inadequate. Now she feels not good enough. Well, what's wrong with me? He don't like me. He's on something always wrong. I'm always doing something wrong. He always got to correct me about something. I can't just be. Because what she's now experiencing is the delayed SOS that she should have got when she was a little girl. Now she's getting it when she's older, an older teenager, maybe she's in her early 20s and stuff like that. So now these are lessons that a daddy would have taught a little girl. Now she got to hear it from a grown man, and she fancies herself grown. So therefore, she's like, oh, you trying to control me. Now, here's the thing. It feels like he's trying to change everything about you. I'm going to tell women why it feels like that and why you should not necessarily run from the process. It feels like that because the foundation of what you think you know is now being challenged. Okay? The foundation of what you think you know, because you think you know how to be a woman and you think you know how to be a girlfriend and all this other kind of stuff. So the foundation for what you think that you know is now being challenged by him. What's happening in reality for the majority of the time is that you're feeling the chaos be gathered into order. You're feeling the parameter and the boundary be set. It doesn't necessarily feel good. And because this man is not your father, you don't necessarily automatically feel like this is coming from a place of love or a place of care. So now you're suspicious about the motivation behind why he's doing this. And that's where a lot of that resistance coming from, a lot of that combativeness coming from, because you don't know, you can't discern, because it never happened. You can't discern whether he's doing this from a place of really wanting to control you and like abuse you somehow, or is he seeing the potential and simply trying to draw it out? And so therefore, he's putting these parameters there so that that potential that he sees can now be drawn out so that he can work with that. We gotta stop with the bad connotations of words. Words that get bad connotations: control, authority, submission. Those are three big words that always have this negative connotation to it. And as soon as we hear those words, it's a trigger. Now it's a trigger. Because I don't want to be controlled. Why would a man want to control me? Like, what is he trying to do? Listen. And we keep trying to explain that if you're responsible for something, you have to have authority over that thing. You have to be able to oversee it. You have to be able to manage the direction of that thing and manage what's going on with it. For example, if I'm responsible for keeping the books for a business, okay? Let's just say I'm responsible for keeping the books for a business. I'm responsible. That means that I have to keep track of what's the income, what's outgoing, what was the expenditures, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature, how much was being spent, all of this stuff, right? I am responsible. But the company does not give me access to the books, right? I'm supposed to keep up with the books and balance the books, but I am not allowed access to the books or access to see the expenditures of the company. I don't have access to the receipts. I don't have access to what the income should be. I can't get the numbers. Yet I'm expected to do my job to balance the books for that company. How am I supposed to be responsible for that? How am I responsible for what I do not control and don't have access to? How am I to be responsible for that? And would it be fair for the CEO of that company to then complain about how the books are imbalanced because, well, you didn't do your job? Yeah, well, every time I asked you for the QuickBook account, there was a problem. Whenever I asked you for the receipts, the invoices, all of the numbers, so I could crunch the numbers for you, None of that was ever given to me. You restricted access to me. So how I was supposed to do that? So now I'm not responsible for that because I don't know who you want to be responsible for. You know who responsible for? Whoever had access to the numbers. That's who you need to be talking to because you don't need to talk to me. You understand? But then now I get fired for quote unquote not doing my job. How was I supposed to do my job? Similarly, if a man is responsible for protecting you, he's responsible for your well-being, he's responsible for making sure that you are good and da 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 and all this other stuff, yet he does not have any access. There is no authority. There's nothing that he can really do. He's not allowed to set any parameters. He's not allowed to make any stipulations. He's not allowed to set any boundaries. He's not allowed to do that, none of that stuff, because the moment that he does those things, that is now somehow bad and controlling. And he's supposed to be responsible, yet he can't tell. He's supposed to be responsible for your safety, but he can't tell you not to go to that sketchy ATM at 3 a.m. in the morning with a bunch of crackheads around. You see what I'm saying? He don't have the authority to tell you that. You would tell him, mind your business. And you go at 3 a.m. to the sketchy ATM whenever you get ready, because you grown. Okay. But if somebody cluck you over the head at that sketchy ATM, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to be mad. And you are going to try to figure out why wasn't he around to help you and protect you. Well, beloved, you told me you was wrong. I didn't even know you was gone. I was asleep at 3 a.m. You the one left the house and went to the sketchy ATM. You see what I'm saying? Because when I told you to stop going to sketchy ATMs in the middle of the night, you told me to mind my business because you grown and I don't tell you what to do. So she's absolutely correct when she says, now, you know what I'm saying, you looking at him with a side eye because he's attempting to add order and structure to you. You didn't want it because you felt like any assertion of his authority was an attack on you, an attack on your autonomy, that, you know, all of these different things. He's trying to abuse you, trying to set you up. It's a setup and all of this other type of stuff. So whenever he does it, you have a negative reaction to it. So now here come the petty back and forths and the arguments. Here comes the why I gotta do that. Why you doing that? See, you don't tell me that. And this is where, and men will get tired of that. Because if you never recognize how detrimental and self-sabotaging that behavior and the response is, then he's going to get tired of all of that. And he's going to get tired of what he perceives as fighting with you to get to a baseline in the relationship. I'm tired of the struggle. You want to be hard-headed. You want to do what you want to do. I've tried several times in several different ways to give you my leadership, to give you my system, order, and structure, I've tried in so many different ways to do this. I've tried to break it down I've tried the hands-off approach. I tried the hands-on approach. I tried the coddle approach. I tried the mean approach. I tried the quiet approach. I tried the talkative approach. And it doesn't seem like any of these approaches are really working. You kind of, you go for a minute, seem like, but then you go back to not really listening to it. So at this point, I don't know what you want me to do, but I'm tired of it, and he will go. And at the moment, in your emotional immaturity, you will think that that was a good thing. And this is why a lot of women get to their 30s and 40s and look back on some of those relationships like, oh, I actually really fumbled that, because even though I didn't like, at that time, I didn't like the way stuff was said. I was actually focused on the wrong things, because ultimately this guy really helped elevate me in different ways. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about like as a person. He like helped me see a lot of stuff, helped me understand a lot of stuff. I just didn't like the way that it was done. So at that time, I was completely worried about the wrong thing. I was worried about the tone. I was worried about, how it was making me feel. I was worried about all these other things. But now that, 10 years later, however long, whatever, now I can look back and actually he wasn't wrong. I was immature, but by that time it'd be too late, especially to go back to that guy. That's the one that got away. And now you struggle to find the same kind of guy because so long you have been so combative to men don't want to deal with it. You put so much of that energy into the atmosphere that men are just not, they're just not there for it. We're going to go on a break and we're going to let Love Dorsey break some more stuff down and comment on it. But after these messages, we'll be right back. So I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you want your skin to be soft and supple and wonderful and smelling good and all of that wonderful stuff, look no further than ashkicking.com. Once again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. They have a wonderful array of personal body care items that you definitely want to partake of. If it's going to be your first order, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Okay. I don't know how many likes I need, but you guys are bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely, for your super stick. I appreciate you, sweetheart. Hey, Dilly07 Tradesman, been a member for 7 months. Say good evening, fam. Thank you so much, and thank you for your continued support. Thank you, 21st Century Infantry. Said, how can you teach a woman life when she rolls with her feelings first, above life understanding, when people in her life neglected to teach her before? We'll go into that. Thank you, HVAC. Why these women go off on brothers and come to their weight. They seen their moms out of shape. Then a man comes and won't allow it. And how you doing, E305's been a member for 5 months. Thank you so much. Say hey, Crimson Cure in the chat. Salute. Thank you so much. And thank you for the Cash App that I received as well. I want to go back to this. Goes into her willingness to be taught and her willingness to understand what she don't understand. Every woman is driven by her feelings first, and her logic is secondary to it. I've explained it in my book, Reclaiming the Black Feminine, that we have emotional filters, and men and women's emotional filters are the opposite of one another. Men filter their life, their experiences through a filter that says logic and reason first, emotions secondary. So he'll start thinking about things rather than feeling them initially. Okay. Women are the opposite. We'll feel something and then think about it from a reason and logic standpoint secondary. What I need men to understand is that for women, our feelings are real. They are a reality. Okay? Our feelings are a reality to us. I don't know how I can make y'all understand that. Maturity in a woman is the willingness to work through the emotional response to get to the logic and reason responses. So to go from the feel to the think. Men go from the think to the feel. We just do the opposite. I see the good sis. Thank you so much for stopping through, showing love. I appreciate you, sis. You've been over there cooking. Please believe I know you've been over there cooking. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, sweetheart. Okay, so women feel first. We cannot help it. There's nothing we can do about that. Absolutely nothing we can do about that. That's just the way it is. That's the way we were built. Like I said, the maturity of a woman is her ability and her willingness to work the process through. And not remain. See, the problem with a woman's emotional response is when she remains in her emotional response only. And she never does come to, okay, now I done felt the feelings. So now let me think about it instead of feel about it. Let me think about it. A woman who is emotionally immature cannot work past her emotions. She gets stuck there. And every time the subject come up, she's emotionally right there. It never goes past that point. She always triggered by it. It's the same trigger with the same emotional output. That is emotional immaturity. Okay. Which is what a lot of again, it goes back to what Love Dorsey is saying, because this is why the Black family and thus the Black community is in such dire straits the way that it is, because we're not getting these lessons. So we can't become families. We can't become husband and wife. We can't get together. We can't raise children. We can't live together because we have too much learned how to miscommunicate. We don't understand each other. And in reality, we don't like each other. Because we don't understand, we don't like. The women who never learned this stuff and unwilling to learn it don't really like masculinity. They like to benefit from it, but they don't really like it. And really, it's the same thing with the men. Don't grow up with their dads. They grow up only watching the chaos of women, and so therefore don't really like women. Want them around, want to get the benefit of her, but don't really like femininity and all this other stuff. And because of that, we can't get together. Too much misinformation and misunderstanding and all of that. This is why it was so detrimental for them to break the Black family up the way that it was broken up. And this is why I attack feminism so hard, because that's the driving mentality. That's the software that was installed. So since that software is there, I don't like that operating system. It don't operate right. It produces bad results for everybody, not just the women, but the men. It produced bad results for them. All we have to do is look at the state of the so-called Black community and see the devastation. That's all we have to do. We living the failure out. It's like they dropped a nuke on it, and this is the radioactive fallout. And you know how long radioactive fallout can be? Hundreds of years. Hundreds of years before that area recover. Chernobyl still has not completely recovered. That is not a habitable place by the human being. Nature is having a hard time with that. It's doing its best. There are animals and plant life that live there, but it's still radioactive to a high degree. And Chernobyl was like what, in the 80s? Look up Chernobyl if you don't understand what I'm talking about. That was one of the worst nuclear disasters. So the Black community is a nuke. This is the radioactive fallout. Let her continue to say what she's saying.
Feel like you're trying to use your money to do. It's a lot of shit we misperceive, or we take it the wrong way because we don't know what it feel like to have a daddy that say, this is the decision as a man, and ain't no woman coming to put her 2 cents on it, right?
Doesn't understand when men make their final decisions. This is perceived automatically as I am devalued and my voice is not heard in this relationship. Anytime he goes ahead and says, okay, this is what it is, and he may not have asked for your insight necessarily, or he may not have had any extensive conversation with you about a particular thing. Now you feel like he don't care about your input. You don't have a voice. You can't be heard. He doesn't care. Once you put it in your head that he don't care and you can't be heard, now here comes the resentment. Now here comes the pulling back, the emotional pullback that you do as a woman in the relationship. Well, if I can't be heard, then, and then you start doing the emotional, nope. All because you've not experienced when your father did it. When he came to a decision for the household, and your mom, always got her little 2 cents. Not always. Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes the decision was simply final and we're not discussing it anymore. And that feels like a shut off, like he's shutting you off. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just that this is what it is. Not going to keep going on and on about it. And as a man, he got to come to a decision at some point. Because if it take you too long to work through your emotional part, he don't necessarily got to wait for that. It might take you 2 weeks to work through your emotional part of that. He got to make this decision by tomorrow. So he ain't got 2 weeks to coddle you about it. So at some point, you're just going to have to chalk that up. And you're not used to chalking it up. Miss Francois had a question. What happens if his decision result in negative outcome? You ride out the negative outcome like we ride out the positive one. Because he's not perfect and his decision making is not always going to be perfect. He gonna roll the dice, and sometimes he gonna roll 7-11, and sometimes he gonna roll snake eyes. What you're looking for is the ratio. You're looking for the ratio of 7 to 11 to snake eyes, right? If he rolling 80% snake eyes, this is a big problem. You got a big problem on your hands because he don't know how to problem solve. But then that's also something that should have been, that red flag should have been seen and treated accordingly. This is why I tell the young ladies, apply his problem solving. Apply it. Apply. Watch him do it. Because he got to do it in his life, right? If this man's life is in shambles, you don't want that. He's not leading himself properly. Can't get with no man life is in an uproar. Why your life in an uproar? Let me see you do it. You can lead so well and you do this and you do that and you flexing and stunting. Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it. I want to see how your life turned out. I ain't even gonna say nothing. I just want to watch. I'm just gonna sit in the bleachers. I mean, I don't even have like a comment. I just want to watch your life fall apart at the seams. You'll never make my life fall apart at the seams. This is how you operate. You see what I'm saying? So if his problem solving is pretty much spot on for the majority of that, I mean, there are going to be decisions sometimes that he's going to make. The outcome is not going to be necessarily favorable. You ride that out. That would be the for worse part. See, the for better part is when everything going good. The for worse part is when he rolled the dice, it didn't go right, and now y'all got to deal with the consequences. And especially if he did come get your consultation and y'all made this decision with an understanding and it just didn't work out. Yeah, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, babe. Mashallah, babe. Come on. Let's work to get it back on track. We can get it back on track. We can get it back on track. The important thing to do in that case, Mrs. Francois, and I know that this is a question, an answer that a lot of women can hopefully use. At those times in your relationship when it doesn't pan out, those are the most important times to make sure that we understand as a couple that we are not the ops. You're not my ops. And I'm not the ops to you. We're not the ops. We are not on opposite sides. We are not at odds with each other. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You could think to yourself, man, if he hadn't done that. But hindsight is always 2020. And you can chalk any problem up to that. Well, if only this had happened, or if only I had did this, or if only such and such had happened, blah, 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 blah. We can always look back and, you know, do your Monday morning quarterbacking. But even if you Monday morning quarterbacking, do it together. Don't do it against each other. You see what I'm saying? Even if y'all got to sit back and Monday morning quarterback, do it on the same side. Yeah. Threw that interception. That was bad. I wouldn't even ran that route. You don't know what you would have did because you did exactly what you did in the heat of the moment. Next time. So I hope that helped you, Miss Francois. I hope that helped everybody that may have needed that. So let me let her. Exactly, babe. So that's what you call support one another through the good and the bad. I don't need you just for the good. Right. We good when it's good. And then when it's bad, I'm mad at you. You know what? I asked you what you thought too now. Since you want to have a word. You said go ahead on as well. We move forward together. You don't remember that conversation? Now it's on me. That's on me, baby. Now it's on me. Right. Okay. I see how you roll. Mm-hmm. See, this is how you be married, y'all. So many marriages fall apart and they don't need to. They really don't be needing to. So many marriages can be together. No need to fall apart. No need to fall apart. Because the riding it out when it get hard, that's how you bond with each other. When you have that best friend, what we always say when we have that long-term friend, man, we've been through everything together. Everything is not always good things. Right? When you have that real close sibling or family member, man, we went through everything together. Everything include a lot of crazy stuff. Y'all were wilding back in the day. You understand? But that's where the love be coming from. That's where I could trust you. That's where that come from. Because when it was thick, when I was wilding, when you was wilding, when times got hard, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, we've been through, that's where the saying come. We've been through thick and thin. We've been through thick and thin with each other. So that I know you down. I know you down. Because we done been through it. And some of the stuff is good when you think about, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Remember when we did such a, and then you be like, man, remember when such and such was going down, man, I ain't know what I was going to do, man. We didn't know what we was going to do, man. We didn't know how we was going to get through that, man. We got through it, though. Husband and wife work the same way. Husband and wife work the same way. You get that bond the exact same way. Because you don't always like the sibling that you like this with. You don't always like them. Do you let that ruin your relationship? No. The best friend that you like this with, you always like them? Y'all get along 100% of the time? So why do we think that we supposed to do that with our spouse, get along all the time? Why? And we could be like this just because that we have a moment of disagreement or a moment where we're not seeing eye to eye. That don't mean we got to do this. We're going to still be like this. I'm going to be hugged up next to you and looking you upside your head at the same time. Now, how about that? I ain't gonna not serve you your food. You just gonna get it served in silence, and you might hear a little clink on the plate on the table. You'll be all right. You know, I love you, girl. I ain't gonna not buy you no flowers, but I'm gonna kind of slam them on the counter. You know, they in there. Well, thank you. Well, you're welcome. You hungry? No. All right. Food isn't the only thing if you get hungry. But you still like this though. Cause just cause I'm looking at you upside the head, bet not nobody else. Cause I don't care if we arguing or what. I don't care if we arguing or what. We could have just got through arguing like cats and dogs. And you go out there, and my husband go out there and he called me 10 minutes later, said, I need you to come through. I'm coming through. So what that argument meant? Nothing. We can go back to not talking if it's got to be like that. But if he called me and he said, baby, I need you to come over here. Pew! And I'm telling you, ain't nothing faster than pew. Nothing faster than that. That's fast. Yeah, your feelings just be hurt a little bit, be mad a little bit. You all right. We be all right. Because the way that we gonna make sure that we gonna be all right is we not gonna prolong no argument. We not gonna do low blows to each other, and we're not gonna see each other as the enemy. You can't see each other as the enemy, because once you start imagining one another as the enemy, that's when it's finna go. It's a matter of time. At that point, it's a ticking time bomb. Because it's hard to come back from, I think this person is out to get me, or I think this person ain't got my back, or I think this person will hurt me. I'm not safe. And women are not the only ones that need to feel safe. Men need to feel safe too in their relationships. If you start feeling I'm not safe, I don't trust. That's an erosion of trust. I'm not safe. I don't trust you. It's the same thing. I'm not safe. I don't trust you. What I don't trust you with, I don't trust you with my heart. I don't trust you with my heart. I think you'll break it. I think you'll hurt me. I think you'll hurt my heart. I think you'll take advantage of this. You know, you'll take bad advantage of my heart. I think you'll mistreat me. I think you'll misuse me. That's what I think. I'm not safe. I don't trust you. And a relationship that does not have trust, it don't exist. The relationship don't exist because the foundation is gone. Two people that don't trust each other cannot do anything together. You can't do business with people that you don't trust. You can't do business. You can't. There's got to be some level of trust. It got to be some level of it. Anything that you do, when you go to work every day, you got to trust that at the end of that pay period, they're going to give you your money. You got to trust that payroll is correct, you got to have some kind of trust in it. Because if you ain't got no kind of trust in it, I can't come to work under these conditions because y'all not going to pay me. Too many times that paycheck was short. And I'm not going to do this. Same thing in the relationship. Same exact thing. Too many times it was short. Too many times you snatched the rug out from under me. Too many times. Too many times the safety net wasn't there. Too many times I fell back and hit the floor. Too many times, now I don't trust you. No, I got it. I do it by myself. I carry it on my own. Let's get to the last part of what she's saying.
And you always seeing how a woman solves and processes and run the household. This your programming. Now flip the same shit to a young boy. You 16, 17, fully grown in your build, but you only ever saw a woman run shit. You only ever saw your mama, decide how stuff gonna go in the household. And we nurture her. So a lot of times women don't even realize all that fussing, the way you handling your son, you fucking him up. And this is why it's a lot of niggas that they not gay. They heterosexual males. They are attracted to women, but they can't stand a fucking woman.
And that right there is a very important key that get overlooked. What she's saying is, in these single mother households where there's no order, the woman is running it. Women are gonna run things in a chaotic way. Women are gonna run things from a chaotic space because that's what we do. We solve problems very differently than men do. We think about stuff differently than men do. We perceive the world differently than men do. We perceive actions differently than men do. We perceive everything differently. So therefore, if she is the authority, and this is doubly so if she is like a hyena on top of it. She not even trying to have her head on straight. Like she wilding, okay? She nag her son because she doesn't know how to deal with a growing male, a growing boy. She don't know how to do that. So she don't know how to talk to her son. Just like she don't know how to talk to a man. She don't know how to talk to any man in any position. None of the men in her life, whether she quote unquote got authority over him or not. She don't know how to communicate with men. She doesn't understand what triggers men. She don't know what men like, what they dislike, how they take stuff, you know what I'm saying, how they perceive things, how things read off to them, and how they move after that. No idea. So when she called herself, well, I was just trying to motivate him and I was just trying to tell him, she's doing it from a standpoint of wagging her finger because that's her son. So she imagines that she still have this authority over him. But at the same time, what she not understanding is he may be her son, but he not a little boy. And the issue is that he did not see a man do all of this, how men run things, how men make decisions, how men apply order and system and structure, how men apply their leadership. He's going to have to figure that out on his own. Just like the girl in the situation got to figure out how to be a woman because she didn't see this. So he got to try to figure out how to be a man. Now, the problem along with that is that if this is the example of woman, femininity, feminine energy, this has always read off to him in a negative way. All that nagging, all that that his mother did. She doesn't know how to impart insight to him. She didn't know how to give him information in a positive feminine space. She know how to do that. So now when he get out into the world and he meets a woman who's in her feminine space, and she tried to give him her emotions or give him insight, the first thing he finna do is tell her to shut up. He triggered. This triggers him. Because all of that is gonna be perceived negatively, whether she's disrespecting him or not. She could be coming to him with the softest way. What's triggering is that a woman he gonna perceive it as a woman trying to tell me what to do. Even if she's respectful, even if she's not trying to tell him what to do, the way in which he has experienced his mother's giving him this energy from a negative space, he don't like it. So anything that even resembles doing that, he will reject it. I don't want her talking to me. I don't need her input on nothing, ever. Because why? When his mother called herself giving input, it was always with this authoritative, you better do it, I expect you to do it. Without giving him the space to problem solve on his own or figure things out on his own. So the point is, he has experienced a negative feminine interaction with his mom. And until he can recognize it, all that feminine energy is bad. All of it is bad. He like women. He want to be with the women. But all of that, when she start bringing her femininity out, that stuff, he don't know about that. He don't know about that. So it's a ruination of both the men and both the men and the women. It can corrupt them. This is how you get hyenas that operate like women. This is how you get male hyenas that operate like women. He's chaotic like a female. He don't have as much control over his emotional states like a hyena. This is where you get that. It's dangerous. It causes the sabotage of what would otherwise be good relationships because you don't know how to respond. Got trauma responses. She triggered because she don't know what it is for a man to have authority and still have respect for her and love for her. Yeah, I got authority over you, but that don't mean I don't love you. That doesn't mean that I don't respect who you are in this relationship. If a young boy grow up with a disrespectful mom and he always feel disrespected by her, the other women in his family, then he gonna have a trauma response to that. Anytime a woman come up and say anything that's gonna be problematic, because he wants to get as far away from feeling like his mama trying to tell him something as he possibly can. It's a horrific state that we are in as a people. We in a horrible place. We in a horrible place. We are on the brink of extinction is what we are. Last thing I'm going to say before I go. This is also how women be calling themselves trying to support their men, help them, because you only seen your mom do this in this chaotic way. This is why you talking to your man like his mama is talk to him, because you only heard it one way as well. You don't know how to motivate a man. You don't know how to support him, and you don't know how to use your hypergamy with him in a positive manner. It's always from this toxic space. Even if you had your intentions was to try to help, you don't know how to help, which is why you get resistance from the men. And this is why you have hyenas talking about don't ever build with no man, don't ever help no man, because they're doing it from the standpoint of how his mama was doing stuff, and he's gonna resist that because it's triggering and it's toxic. And that all he hear is his mama. And what did he do when he was 15, 16, 17 and his mom started doing it? He rebelled. And that's what he's finna do with you. He's finna rebel. Everything that you want him to do, he's not gonna do it. He's purposely not doing it. You should get a job. You should do this. You should get a higher paying job. You should, you know what I'm saying, do like this and blah, 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 whatever it is you're trying to get him to do. And he's not gonna do it. Because you sound like who? Who you sound like? His mama. And you start feeling like his mama. That should be a red flag for you. Not because he's a red flag, but because you're operating from the red flag. You're the red flag. You should never be sounding like nobody's mama. Because that's your man, not your son. That is a grown man. Suggestions. Y'all got commands. It don't work. It don't work. Gotta learn the difference between a suggestion and a command. You can't make no grown man do what you want him to do. You can't make him do that. You can't make. He's not gonna respond positively to none of that. Like, you gonna be mad. You gonna be mad. You gonna be upset. Like, you about to be upset. Why he won't do? Because you making sure he, you know what I'm saying, pick his drawers up off the floor and clean his room. Like, that's why when he goes somewhere else and another woman don't say that kind of stuff, she don't say it in the same way, the same strain, or with the same intent, that's why he comply. Okay, baby. You right, baby. Mm-hmm. Right. You right. You can suggest. But all that, you better. He ain't trying to hear that. Baby, he ain't trying to hear that. Thank you so very much. Let me get to these super chats. Thank you, Rodney. So never mind me. I'm just here for the boops and the gotchas and perhaps a Gemini consultation. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, James. Say, Kendra, thanks for pointing out that her feelings are real. So along with that, with what she means by the feeling, this is what I need to listen to. I was mostly confused with what they feel, but mean something else. Wait. Thanks for pointing out that her feelings are real. So along with what she means by the feeling, this is what I need to listen to. I was mostly confused with what they feel, but mean something else. I don't think I understand your question. I'm sorry, but thank you. Thank you so much, says Set 'em Straight, says thank you for your very generous contribution. I appreciate you so much, condemned man. And thank you, Pierre. So you did a broadcast called Feminism and Gynocracy. You said then things are so out of order in the Black community, it can't be reversed. Yeah, the boneyard, I don't believe that the boneyard can necessarily be, well, the boneyard can't be reversed. I think we got to start over. The lions and lionesses got to start over. And the hyenas just got to be left in the boneyard. We can't salvage that. We can't salvage that. Yes. We need a reset of our values and then build upon that. Thank you, Vincent. It's a great analysis today on multitasking and listening. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. But, before we go,
friends and family, I would like you to check out blackcommunityspeak.com. Now, blackcommunityspeak.com is a forum-based website. So something that's very simple where you can get on, you can get off, get involved with a lot of topics. Now, Black Community Speaks is a place that's for Black men and women to talk about issues that's affecting the entire community. So on blackcommunityspeak.com, they talk about topics in the range of news, what's going on in society, relationships, technology, business, food and recipes, gaming, health and fitness, music, and many, many more. On Black Community Speak, it's a place where you can be safe to say what you want to say without the fear of big tech censorship. So make sure you head on over to blackcommunityspeak.com and sign up today.
All right, so the link to blackcommunityspeaks.com is pinned to the top of the chat. Please do not hesitate to click the link, go over to the forum. The Brothers Forum is very neatly done, very nicely done, very orderly. So you definitely want to go ahead and add your 2 cents to a conversation that is ongoing or start your own. Once again, that's Black Community Speak, and the link is at the top of the chat. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, it's the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.